The Bank of North Dakota really, as an institution or an arm of the state of North Dakota, has been hugely influential in the development of our communities through housing, through development, through funding businesses, through supporting local community structures. The banks have been a big deal.
The real concept of the bank is that everything starts locally. That we have ideas on what the state should be doing on a macro level, but we believe that everything is locally driven.
Between the work that's done at the legislature, the work that takes place on the Industrial Commission, our interaction with the Bank of North Dakota, with the efforts that are made by reaching out and working with those communities, I think you really start to identify what are some of the needs and what are some areas you need to focus on.
One of the problems we had in the 90s, and still do in North Dakota, is say somebody wants to build an apartment house in Pheasanton, North Dakota. Well, the day the door opens, the value of that building is 70% of what the construction costs are because of the local market values. What bank is going to lend against that? When you got 70% of your asset on day one. The Bank of North Dakota was hugely influential in housing in rural communities by being able to participate with local banks in construction loans. And that made a big difference in rural communities and in people's lives in our communities.
The local bank will work with their customer on the front end, with the local economic development entity, and say, here are these great programs. Why don't we use the Bank of North Dakota's programs, which are meant to help you expand, start up.
It's an economic development bank. I mean, it's all about economic development. And that's why I took the job in the first place, is because I've always believed jobs are job one. And I believe that that's what the Bank of North Dakota needed to be about. And it had kind of gotten to the point in the 80s and early 90s that it was operating more as a bank, if you will, and not as much as an economic development entity. And given that I was in the banking industry at that time in Minot, I'd worked as a customer of the Bank of North Dakota, so I had ideas about how it should operate as the state's economic development bank. And that's what led me to apply for the job and go down and try to make that happen.